The Afghan Taliban are today in a hot conflict with Pakistan, the very Pakistan that sponsored their growth and sponsored their takeover of Afghanistan itself. This would be considered dark humor if lives and families weren't at stake. Let's dig into what is really happening here. The Pakistani state has always sold itself to outside powers to keep big power rivals of those outside powers in check. One somewhat recent example of this is the Americans funding the Mujahideen jihadists in Pakistan, which Pakistan then sent into Afghanistan to defeat the Soviets, and they also conveniently turned those madrasas towards India, which America turned somewhat of a blind eye to. And America was largely okay with this whole strategy until the jihadi strategy started to affect America as well. Now, of course, the problem with sponsoring jihadis on your own soil is that you sponsor jihadis on your own soil. You see, in reality, Pakistan's primary security threat is not India, it's actually jihadis. They lose more annually to internal security threats like the TTP than they do to any conflict with India, including the hot war, you could say, even though it's not really a war, that they fought with India this year. The thing is, the Pakistan security establishment, the military, the ISI, they think that if one of their sponsored jihadi groups actually takes over another government, then Pakistan will be in the privileged position of having fathered that government in some way and would get some security rights, strategic depth, whatever you might think. So presumably, if they can see this far into the future, they think that that internal security threat is worth it if they can achieve some sort of external objective at the end. But they did it. The Taliban took over Afghanistan with Pakistan's help. They kicked the Americans out. And the Pakistani ISI chief, the intelligence chief, was there in Afghanistan to celebrate with them.
I just landed and
we are working for peace and stability in Afghanistan.
don't worry, everything will be okay.
But as happens with many militant groups who end up actually needing to run a government, they realize that running the government is harder than taking it over. So the Taliban, once they controlled Afghanistan, were interested in running a stable Afghanistan from where they could collect taxes, run a foreign policy, feed their people, legitimize their own rule in Afghanistan. So the irony of this whole situation is that now Pakistan, run by a military dictator general who prides himself on being an Islamist through and through, is fighting a hot border war with arguably the most Islamist government on planet Earth right now, the Afghan Taliban. This conflict is a telling sign that the narrative that the India-Pakistan conflict is a religious one between Hindus and Muslims is a lie. A lie that Pakistan and often the West would rather conveniently have Muslims believe. What the Afghan-Pakistan conflict really is, just as what the India-Pakistan conflict really is a country that is trying to find stability, that has the misfortune to neighbor a country that's primary export is instability. Until next time.